everyone, Sabrina here from Scrappy Tales Crafts, and today I'll be showing a different kind of video. I actually created 4 Halloween cards using some new and old Lawn Fawn products, so I thought it would be fun to share a video showing how I created these cards. So for card 1, you can see that I did some stamping, coloring, and die cutting off camera. All of these stamps I used, I will try to link down below. I used some Halloween Lawn Fawn stamps as well as some that weren't Halloween related, but I dressed them up for Halloween. So I also went ahead and stamped some jack-o'-lanterns on some orange pattern paper. I decided not to color those since I was using so many of them, and that was just faster for me. So for card 1, I'm going to create a night sky. I started with seedless preserves. I added that with my life-changing brush here, and now I'm going over that with some salty ocean distress oxide, and then towards the top of this sky I'm going to add black soot. I am having to go over this blended sky a few times just to get a more seamless blend. So now I'm taking my spray bottle and going to add some water splatters to add some texture. And now I'm taking this black die cut hillside. This is a Lawn Fawn die. And like I said, I will be linking everything down below. I'm going to add some acetate behind that window. I like the shine that acetate provides, and I think it makes my cards look more expensive. So I add acetate to almost all my cards. And I'm going to trim off the background a little bit so that it would be easier for me to adhere my hillside on top. And I decided to adhere a gray hillside just to add a different color and to differentiate those hills a little bit more. I am going to add some foam tape behind the gray hill to add some dimension. I'm using some U-line foam tape. It's very sticky. Okay, so now I'm taking this black die cut tree. This is from another Lawn Fawn die set. I'm going to trim it down so that it can fit on top of the gray hill. And I am going to pop part of this tree up so that it is even against that popped up gray hill. This time I'm using Scotch 3M. It's easier to work with and it's less sticky. And I'll just pop that over to the side. And that's just going to help set the scene here. I'm going to be creating a little pumpkin patch scene with some kitties and squirrels. It'll be really cute. So whenever I work with acetate, I like to glue things behind the acetate and in front of the acetate. So I did decide to adhere a moon behind the acetate, and I'm also going to add this die cut house. I think this came in the same die set as those hills. So I added some black behind the windows, and I'm just going to fiddle around with that so the house looks like it's sitting on top of the black hill. And now I'm going to work on the elements that will be glued onto my hillside. I'm going to take 2 of these jack-o'-lanterns. I'm going to layer them so that they're slightly overlapping, and that way I can add this cute little sleeping kitty on top. And like I said earlier, I didn't use all Halloween Lawn Fawn stamps, but I really love these cats, especially this one that's kind of sitting. It looks perfect inside that cute little jack-o'-lantern, and I wanted to place some squirrels beside the cat to make it look like they were carving the pumpkin that the cat is sitting in. So here I'm laying out all of my little images, and I'm going to have that black cat scratching on the tree. I decided to also add a ghost above the little house, and I'm happy with this layout, so I'm going to start attaching everything using some foam tape and my art glitter glue. I did leave out the coloring for this particular card, but for the next few I will leave in the coloring. Whenever I create these cards, I'm actually using all my leftovers that I make when I create my box cards. So I typically create 10 cards of one design. So sometimes I have leftovers and sometimes I don't. And I always try to use them on a flat card. So all of these images were already die cut and colored. All I die cut were the pumpkins for this card. I'm going to add foam tape behind the two squirrels. I did attach the cat inside the pumpkin flat with my art glitter glue. I did give one squirrel a wooden spoon and the other one a knife so that it looked like they were carving the pumpkins. I did add some die-cut witch hats on top of a few of my cats just to make them look more Halloweenish, if that's a word. And after that, I can attach my hillside die cut on top of my sky. So I just used my ATG tape and some more art glitter glue. And I decided to add one more little pumpkin. I thought that the left-hand corner needed some orange. So I'm using a brown marker to color in the stems of the pumpkins. And then after that, I will flip this whole panel over, add some ATG tape, and attach that onto a 110-pound white Neenah card base. And as you can see, I had no room for a sentiment, so I'm going to stamp one on the inside. I chose Smile, It's Halloween. This is from the Squirrel and Pumpkin stamp set. And I'm not sure what any of the names are, so just check down below and I will have everything listed for you. And here I'm just going to attach that sentiment on the inside. That little die cut piece that I stamped the sentiment inside of is from Pink and Maine. And here you can see I had even more leftovers that I could attach to the inside, but I do sell my cards, so I try to leave the insides pretty simple. So here's a close-up. I really love the little cats on this card. I am a cat person. But if you're more of a dog person, you can always swap the cats out for dogs. I know that Lawn Fawn has a cute Dachshund Halloween stamp set, and I think those dogs would be adorable in that same scene. Okay, so now I'm going to work on card 2, and this is actually a treat box, not a card. So what I did here was I die cut the scallop stitched treat box by Lawn Fawn from some black 100-pound cardstock. You want a pretty heavyweight cardstock since you will be putting candy inside this treat box. I'm now going to die cut a window from each of these die cuts here, and I'm die cutting the window from the largest scored rectangle. It's hard to explain, but I'm kind of pointing at it. That's where you're going to cut the window, and that way you can see the candy inside the box. And now I'm just reinforcing those score lines, since you want those to be folded when you assemble the box together. And the die cuts out one of these. You're going to need 2 to create the box. So here you can see what one looks like. You get half the box. You fold that side flap upwards, and there are some tabs that you can add some double-sided tape, and that will attach the walls of the box together. And the top of the box has 2 flaps that you pinch inwards, and that's going to close your box. So behind those windows, I obviously didn't want my candy to fall out, so I'm going to add some acrylic behind these windows. I think you can also use acetate. I knew that I was going to be putting some heavy M&Ms inside, so I wanted to make sure that this box would stay together. So here now I'm attaching those walls together. I did use double-sided tape. This one I forgot to add the acrylic, so I'm just pulling that off the tabs, and then I will attach another rectangular acrylic sheet. I am using my 3-in-1 glue to attach the acrylic. I do like this glue since it is very strong. And then after that, I will just reattach the box. And now I'm going to decorate the outside. So I am taking this die cut here, and this is from the new Halloween Lawn Fawn release, and it's the Build a House die cut, and there is an add-on for Halloween. So what I did was I assembled the house and I cut off the bottom so that I got a shorter house to work with. I wanted to add some yellow behind this door So I just added that, and I'm going to add a little ghost behind the door as well. So I had all of these leftovers from my Halloween cards this year, so I'm just attaching whatever I can onto this little box. And I think it turned out really cute. I love making these for Halloween. You can give them to trick-or-treaters. My husband's birthday is in October, so I will be giving him this little box. So I'm going to add another pumpkin, which I had left over from the first card, and then I had a bunch of these little ghosts. So I'll just stick those wherever I can. And I like that you can cut down that build a house die cut and make it shorter. So I think that looks really cute. And then I had some leftover Lawn Fawn Village stamped and colored. These were colored with my Zig Clean Color Wheel brush markers. And this is another new Lawn Fawn product. I tried to use some new and old. I really did like the new Lawn Fawn release this year, so I got a lot of use out of it. So I'm going to attach a few more ghosts. I tried to leave the backside more bare so you can see more of that acrylic, and that way you can see more of the candy inside. And I even decorated the sides since I had even more leftovers. Just going to attach a few more houses from the Halloween Village set. And then, of course, a few more little ghosts. And I think these are by Memory Box. So I think that completes my little box. I'm going to work on a little tag to hang off the roof. So I chose Have a Fabulous Day. This is also a new Lawn Fawn stamp set I'm using with this sentiment. I'm going to punch a hole at the top. I'm going to use my scissors to make that hole a little bit larger so that I can thread some twine through the top. And this little die cut tag is by Pink and Main. I just die cut that from some lime green cardstock. I'm going to use my scissors to try to get that thread through the hole. And then I'll just tie a knot. I am using some black and white baker's twine. And then I will tie a little bow on the top of the roof. And I think that turned out super cute. So here's how the box looks empty. And now I'm going to add my candy inside. And this little treat box holds a lot of candy. I was surprised. And here you can kind of see the M&Ms peeking through. You can obviously opt out of adding the windows to the treat box, but I really like that you can see the colorful candy inside. So here's a close-up. For card 3, I'm going to be creating a reveal wheel card. So I went ahead and die cut the reveal wheel from some 110-pound white Nina cardstock. I also die cut the reveal wheel window from a circle add-on that coordinates with the Fortune Teller cat stamp and die set. So I will be using that old cat for this card. And now I'm creating the sky. I started with Squeezed Lemonade at the bottom. I went over that with my Lucky Clover, and towards the top I'm adding Broken China. I wanted to try to create a different kind of sky, and I like how this looks. I didn't bother to add any ink to the bottom because I knew I was going to add some hills over that. So now I'm taking my little Fortune Teller cat. I actually didn't like the colors on this cat, so I will be recoloring it later. But I'm first going to lay out everything just to see what it would look like. This hillside die was cut from the same die I used for card number 1. I just took off the frame that goes around it so that I was just left with the hills. I'm going to pop those hills up with some foam tape. Once I attach my hills, I'll flip that panel over and trim off the excess. And then I'll add my sentiment on top of the hills to see what that will look like. Off camera, I stamped, colored, and die cut a fox and bunny from a Valentine Lawn Fawn stamp set. And they're really cute because they're facing backwards and they look like they're looking at the fortune teller. I've seen a few other people use this stamp set along with the fortune teller stamp, and I think it's really cute. I thought I might add some stars above my fortune teller, but I opt to use ghosties since I did want this to look more Halloweenish. There I go, using that word again. Okay, so I went ahead and re-stamped my cat. I wanted the table to match more with the colors in the background, so I will be coloring the table in green, and the bandana, the stars, and the moons in yellow, and then of course my cat has to be black. We are making a Halloween card. Whenever I color with my Copics, I start with my darkest color. In the case of this table, I concentrated the dark color around the edges of the table, and then I go over that with my midtone, and then I go over the whole image with my lightest marker. For the table, I added most of my lightest marker towards the center to make it look more rounded. I'm going to go over those stars and moons with a glitter Sakura gold pen, and that's going to make the moons and stars shine. I also went over the cat's bandana with that pen. And now I'm just going to finish up my cat. I didn't bother to color the crystal ball since I will be cutting that out. And with the reveal wheel, it'll look like the cat's crystal ball is changing the sentiment on the card. It's super cute. So I'm now taking the scallop that comes with the reveal wheel die. I die cut that from some white cardstock, and now I'm adding some tick marks at 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. And that's going to help me know where to stamp my sentiments. I'm going to attach the brad and the little donut circle shape behind the scallop, and then I'll add some foam tape on top of that circle die cut, just on that portion. I'm not adding any foam tape to the scallop. And then I'm going to use my tick marks and the scored lines on the scallop die itself to help me position it onto another reveal wheel, which I die cut from some white cardstock. And then using those tick marks, I'm going to trace the circle 4 times onto my scallop circle die, and that's going to evenly space each reveal wheel turn evenly, and I'll also know where to stamp my sentiment. I will leave a more detailed description of how to use this die down below. It took me a few tries to kind of figure out what I was doing. I know Lawn Fawn now has templates that you can use instead of tracing and figuring out where to trace and all that, so you might want to use that if you have it, but I'm just using it the old-fashioned way. And I'm using the sentiments from the Fortune Teller Cat stamp set. I'm just going to add the sentiment inside each of those, and once they're stamped, I can erase the pencil lines and then reattach it with my brad there. And here you can see everything stamped pretty evenly and straight, which is good. So now I can add some foam tape to the rest of the areas, making sure not to add any foam tape on top of that scallop circle or else it won't turn. Okay, and that will complete the little reveal wheel. It's pretty easy, and I think it's super cute. I love the concept of the crystal ball changing the sentiment. So now I can start to assemble my scene. I'll add some foam tape behind my Fortune Teller Cat to pop her up, and I'm making sure to line up her crystal ball with the reveal wheel window. And now I'm going to add some foam tape and glue behind my fox and bunny. And to Halloweenify this card, I'm going to add a few ghosts circling around my fortune teller. But first I'm going to work on the sentiment. In order for this card to make sense, I had to add, I predict your day will be super duper, filled with smiles, etc., etc. Once you turn it, it does change the sentiment, which is super cute. And again, I'm going to add a different colored hill to that front hill on that die cut, just to add some color and, I guess, dimension. And here I'm taking those same memory box ghosts and I'm going to glue them above my cat, kind of moving in a circular motion so it looks like they're circling the crystal ball. Here I'm trying to decide if I want to add any stars, but I kept the rest of the sky pretty simple and I didn't add anything else. I'm attaching my sentiment, which I did die cut from some yellow cardstock out of a Pink and Mean die set. I'll add a few more ghosts, and I decided to add some leftover bats I had in my stash. I think that turned out really cute. So now I can attach the whole panel to my 110-pound white Neenah card base. And in order for the recipient to know to turn the reveal wheel, I stamped "Turn to Spook," which is a new sentiment from a new stamp set this year that coordinates with the reveal wheel. So I just went ahead and white heat embossed it on black cardstock, and then I trimmed it out with my scissors and attached that to the side of my scallop. And that will complete card number 3. For card 4, I'm taking a few leftover Lawn Fawn images. I'm going to add a little bit of color to them. I think I add some pink to the ghost cheeks. And this cat I don't end up using, but this cat is by Pink and Mean. I did give her a little witch hat. I'll also give my ghosts some witch hats. And these hats were die cut from another Lawn Fawn die that's new this year. It cuts a witch hat and a Santa hat that pretty much fits on every Lawn Fawn character. So I'm going to give one ghost a purple hat and the other one an orange hat. And for most of my Halloween cards, if you follow me on Instagram or check out my Etsy, you'll know that I add Google Eyes to almost all my Halloween cards. So I thought just to dress these little guys up, I would add some Google Eyes. And now I'm going to work on my background. So I actually cut the scallop circle from the last card from this 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch Neenah panel. So I thought I would try to use it for this card. So I'm going to create a sky, kind of like a sunset sky. I started with squeezed lemonade, went over that with wild honey, and then towards the top I will add seedless preserves. And whenever I ink blend, I typically go over the whole thing twice. I'm going to add some water splatters. And here I wanted my little house here to have a moon behind it, so I decided to go with the gray. And I did color that house in with my Copic markers. I colored it in purple. And then that little orange spiderweb gate is by Cottage Cuts. I'm going to add that gate on either side of my haunted house. And of course, if there's a window on a card, I'm going to add acetate. So I added that behind, and I use transparencies that teachers use for overheads. That's actually what the packaging says, and I was very shocked to learn that teachers might still be using overhead monitors, but that's what I use. I will link it down below. It's very cheap, and if you go through acetate like I do, you might want to pick it up. I really like it. So I popped up my purple house, and now I'm going to pop up the spiderweb gate. I'm going to adhere each side of the gate, slightly overlapping the house. And I think that looks really cute. And now I'm going to add my ghosts hovering over my haunted house. For my last smaller ghost, I think I glue him in front of the gate. I gave one of my ghosts a witch's broom, which was die cut from a Cottage Cuts die. I thought about having that last ghost at the top, which is really cute. I'm not sure why I moved him. But I'm going to add my sentiment, which was white heat embossed on black cardstock, And of course, this is a Lawn Fawn Halloween sentiment I'm using. And that comes with the Haunted House stamp set. And here I have some orange stars. I thought they would be cute up in the sky, so I'm going to attach those with my art glitter glue and then move my smaller ghost right in front of the spiderweb gate. I'll attach him with some art glitter glue and some foam tape. So this one was pretty quick to put together. I really like the yellow and purple colors on this one. I ran out of my ATG tape, so I'm just going to add some double-sided tape behind this and attach that to my 110-pound white Nina card base. And that will complete card number 4. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's a little bit different, but I thought it would be fun to showcase some cards I made using some old and new Lawn Fawn Halloween stamps and dies, as well as some that aren't necessarily for Halloween but can be dressed up to match Halloween. Let me know if you guys like these type of videos because I do want to try other things. I will have my Hero Arts 5 cards 1 kit video up soon, so if you haven't yet already, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're aware of when I post my new videos. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!